Hi everybody, it's Carollanne from Solavedi Organics, and a lot of you already have worked with me and some of you are new, and I wanted to just introduce myself very briefly. I'm the formulist at Solavedi Organics, and I bring to every skincare formula a background in Ayurvedic herbalism. And that's important because here we are, I'm going to be talking about and demonstrating a new but very ancient facial sequence, and it incorporates all of sea mineral vegetation, seaweeds, emulsions that are from Maine. So I moved to Maine 3 years ago, and as an Ayurvedist, I like to pick what's local. And I'd been using herbs and flowers and seeds and barks from trees, all from terra firma. And then suddenly I was just smitten with the seaweed harvest. And I would go to the sea and just touch the kelp and the Irish moss and the laminaria, and all of these sea vegetables feel almost like skin to me. Everything is so slimy and so soft and so rich. And my chemistry hat would go on, and I would think to myself, gosh, this must have a lot of lipids and proteins in it. And I remember studying 100 years ago, I studied macrobiotics, and I was told to add seaweed to all the food because seaweed comes from the ocean, and the mineral content is identical, bioidentical to human blood. So it's so life-sustaining. So I took all of these different seaweeds back into my formulary, and I did what I do to everything, which is put them in oil, cook them into ghee, cook them down, extract them, but without using any chemicals. So there was no alcohol used. Everything remains intact, undegraded. So that's a little bit of the background, and I loved what I came up with. I came up with very rich, dark extracts, and then I would mix them into serums and into the clay mask and into the cleansers. And my whole purpose in doing this was that it would provide a line of skincare that is both hydrophilic and lipophilic, just like human skin. But to keep in mind, as we're doing this facial, that it is Ayurvedic. So this is actually a real marriage between Ayurveda and sea mineral skincare science. A lot of other companies and brands may work with sea minerals, but they are leaving out this beautiful wisdom of Ayurveda. And you'll see that in this facial there are 7 products, and I made 7 products for the 7 skin layers. The first cleanse step is actually a very light initial cleanse, and I'm using the Irish Moss Cleansing Gel. And a gel cleanser, first of all, I want to tell you who this facial is for. It's for everybody. And that's going to make your life as an esthetician pretty easy, because a lot of times with Ayurveda, assessment is the stumbling block. We sometimes don't know whether we're working with Pitta, Kapha, or Vata. And I will assure you that this facial covers the whole spectrum from acne, oily, blemished, inflamed, red skin, to also getting into the very dry, maturing skin that has hyperpigmentation and dark spots. So all of it is included here. The gel cleanser is appropriate for all skin types because of the fact that it's soothing, it's softening. The Irish moss has demulcents in it that are biomimical to hyaluronic acid produced in the body. So it has the glucosaminoGlycans, which is, for those of you like me that geek out on the science, is what all of our dermal cells bathe in. It's this liquid underneath the surface of the skin. So we're using something that the body says yes to. And then the next step, which is much more in line with, if you've worked with me, you know, the Ayurvedic facial, step 2 is the heart and soul of the treatment, meaning this is where I would say that every facial that Solavedi provides is going to be like a triangle inside of a circle. So the circle unifies these 3 parts, and each part is equally important. One is product, one is sequence, and the other is you, your energy. And so at step 2, the most important thing that the person is going to come away with is having an interaction with your energy through your hands and their face. And so this is a facial oil massage, it's oilation, but it's much more than that. So it's the granular cleansing balm. And the word granular in this product is that there's a micro exfoliant in it. It's nothing abrasive. And yet the granulation of the chlorella and the seaweed, it's done through a hot-cold oil cooking process that is kind of geeky. But basically, you'll feel it very, very gently, almost like a cat's tongue just licking you. It's got that little bit of a tooth, but it's not aggressive. And that's what makes this skincare facial so appropriate to everybody. So I like to send people home with the granular balm as a soap replacement, and also to soften and prepare their skin to receive the deeper products, serums and creams. But what's interesting about this is that during the step 2, oilation with the balm, which is, by the way, very green, you might want to get a green towel or two, because chlorella, pigments, and laundry, say no more. So it stains. So you might want to work with either your steamer, or you can introduce tools. So I have shown and will be demonstrating a very basic perfunctory facial. But I'm hoping that if you have gua sha, or if you have kansa, or if you're working with warm facial stones, bring them in to step 2. Stretch this out to a 15-minute segment of the facial. And by the way, this facial is a 60-minute facial, so that's a big portion. And then we will do the cleansing first and then the massaging. And so what is the difference between an oil cleanse and an oil massage? There really isn't much difference other than in the pace and the focus of your fingers. So if you're wanting it to be cleansing, you're going to go in tiny little circles and try with your intention to merge the oils that you're introducing into sebaceous filaments or sebaceous collections in the pores. Whereas massage is more soft, mother hand and spreading. So same product, different hand skills. Then you'll remove all of that. And so at step 3, this is actually going to be a combination of your sequence of cleansing and extractions, and then pivots into a treatment. So this one is just a little bit of a refresher for those of you that took the Ayurvedic facial training with me. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are considered to be cleanse. And then step 4 and 5 are the application of the leave-on products that comprise your treatment. But what's different in the sea mineral facial is that step 3 is both. It's extraction and it's also treatment. I would say that it's more leaning towards the cleansing. Okay, so here's what we're using. It's an activated charcoal with Icelandic sea clay. So it's kind of like a yin-yang you've got going on here. The charcoal is always adsorbent and pulling. And this clay, even though it does draw out and is a little bit drying and extractive and astringent and things that you want in the skin, it's depositing minerals inward. So this is where you, as the esthetician, will make your fine-tuning and strategy about what does this skin need. Is it acne, or is it sensitive skin, or is it dry, mature skin? And I'm going to tell you this is how I modify. I use my powdered rock, the clay mixtures, and I mix some of that in with the charcoal as a nice leave-on mask. So for acne, I would use acne, or let me just say, acne, enlarged pores, blackheads, dull complexion that has not been getting any masking or peeling. So this is kind of to jumpstart that process for someone that's coming in for the first time in a long time. So the green, rock and green and charcoal together are awesome for that one, because you're going to, charcoal and all the greens are very strident. So I love that for that skin type. The white clay, the rock and light, is kind of the opposite of the green. The white clay is calm, anti-inflammatory. It's not asking anything of the skin. It's just going to let the skin kind of do a little restorative timeout. And so it regulates in a downward fashion the actions of the charcoal. So it softens and quiets things down. That would be good for sensitive skin, people with allergies, or even a sunburn, because a lot of times this sea mineral facial will be sought after in the summer. So summer skin in general would do well with this. And then the third one is rock and fruit. And rock and fruit is, I'm not going to say the word anti-aging. I'm just going to say it's more about repairing. So it's more about providing antioxidants as well as nutrients. So it's the much more nutrifying, but it does have a little bit of kojic acid in it, which helps in hyperpigmentation. So treating as well as extraction. So I hope that makes sense to you, but you can always hop on one of my Zoom Q&As if you want to have a whole special section on just how to modify step 3. So step 3, you apply it, and while the mask is setting, I often will go down and massage the hand and the arms. Also at step 3, it's a really, really good time to bring your steamer in. I would definitely do that if the person has the dry skin, or if it's fall and winter. Those are really good seasons to bring the steamer in for Svedana. So again, it helps to penetrate way deep, deep, deep. Step 4 is one of the fastest steps in any of the facials from Solavedi Organics, and step 4 is the toner. So there is a sea mineral toner in this line, and it's actually called the fortifying toner. And it's made with hydrosols, and the other ingredient besides the hydrosols is an aqueous, so it's not an oil-based infusion decoctions like tea made out of seaweeds. So it has some Douglas fir because we're from Maine, and so we want to keep it kind of, what would it smell like if you were walking along the beach in Maine? It would smell like seaweed and a little pine. So people love that, and it feels very soothing. Anybody can use this. This is all universal skincare. So kind of breaking all my own rules and going against my own religion, because I never believed in universal skincare, but I want to say this has a spectrum of skin types that it works with. So after the toner, we are going to apply serum, eye cream, and face cream. Again, the leave-ons and your treatment. But all of the thinking and all of the planning and strategizing has been done for you. So one of the things I'll just do now is tell you what is working in each of the products. The first one will be the nightly requirement emulsion. Typically, I wouldn't send someone home with this serum as a daily serum. And the reason is that one of the primary ingredients in it is Altermonaris ferment. It's a sea ferment. And it has, it's an interesting thing, it has beneficial bacteria in it that are active, and it does produce some naturally occurring salicylic acid. So again, for the person who's not getting peels, this is a really, really wonderful way to motivate the skin to produce some new skin cells. It will not hurt somebody in your facial treatment to then walk out into daylight. It's not that photosensitive, but as a daily product, I want to see people using this at bedtime. So it's like, the midnight miracle. So it works at night. It also does have Punarnava, and that is an Ayurvedic skin brightening and lightening herb. I am not opposed to pigment in the skin, but it is just a feeling and a desire that a lot of people would like to even out their tone. So Punarnava is really good for just an even tone in the complexion. There is hyaluronic acid in it, vitamin C. There's a lot of multivitamins in the seaweed extract. So this is one that I really, really feel strongly about, as if you didn't really use anything at home, just to put this on at bedtime, you'd wake up feeling like, wow, something happened overnight. So that's first step. And then the second step is the eye cream and just a little bit. And I always caution people, don't put that emulsion around the eye skin, just because of the tendency for it to be so active. So avoid the eye area. Then the argireline serum, I apply a little bit and I focus on any areas that would tend to show fine lines and wrinkles. So the crow's feet area, frown lines, and lip lines. So for those of you, argireline serum is actually a peptide. It can be synthesized in a lab, or it can come from, as this one does, from marine peptides. And argireline, hexapeptide 8, is known to be what they call Botox in a bottle. And I think that sounds really funny, so I had to look it up and find out why do they do that. And there's something about this protein peptide that actually goes into the deeper facial muscles and just relaxes them. Now, is this going to last? You know, if you compare it to a Botox injection? No, it's not. But what it will do is it will create a little bit of lift. It's like 48 hours. So I think with regular use, this is one of the things that I'm hearing from people that are actually working with it. And I've done a lot of studies with it with test groups. And regular use does create lift and smoothing. So we want to put that in. And again, it's for everybody. And the last piece is the Element Protectant Cream. And this is, people ask all the time, is this an SPF? No, it's not an SPF, and I don't make an SPF. But what I do make in this, it has several herbs. The primary herb in this is the cat's claw vine. And cat's claw vine has anti-tumor necrosis factor in it, which helps in programmed cell death of skin cells that are exposed to UV rays. In short, what that is that if you've been out in the sun and you're exposed to the weather, you're going to see some skin damage. This cream, actually topically, twice a day, helps to keep the skin cells healthy. It's also very softening and very hydrating, and it doesn't have any fragrance. So it's actually one of those, again, across the board, I would recommend this to anybody. So this is the facial. This is the sea mineral facial that a lot of you have been asking me about, and I'm hoping that this answers your questions or starts to percolate in your mind into new good questions we can all learn from. So I'm going to sign off now and hopefully see you at some of those Zoom Q&As.